Okay, we're here with Steve Schkler, who's the founder and CEO of 3Ality. Steve, what is your objection to this video footage?
I started this business as a cinematographer. I'm an ASC member. I've been a shooter for a very long time. So if I were doing a real video interview, I wouldn't light it like this.
Okay.
In fact,
what's wrong with it?
One very harsh light that's way too high for an interview. No shadow fill, no rear lighting, nothing in the eyes. So when people don't have light in their eyes, they generally look dead. So I know, here I look dead.
You look nice.
I look dead.
All right, let's get a bit serious now. You just acquired Element Technica. Can you tell us a bit about what this acquisition would do for you and what it would mean for the market?
So we did just announce, I think 2 weeks ago, that we had acquired Element Technica. 3Ality Digital, or what used to be 3Ality Digital, was the #1 company in the business.
Right.
And Element Technica would have been the #2 company in the business. So through the acquisition, I believe there's no hard figures on it, but I think we have about 80% of the market share at this point in movies and broadcast. So it was a perfect fit between two companies. 3Ality Digital, the former 3Ality Digital, was very, very strong on software, image analysis, image processing. And our image processors are the platinum standard of the business in terms of shooting 3D. Even if you weren't using our rigs, you were usually using, companies usually use our image processors with other rigs to shoot the movies.
Yeah.
So Element Technica is very, very strong on mechanical design, in-house manufacturing, assembly, customer service. So we've brought these two together. It fits so well in terms of complementary skill sets that so far there haven't even been any layoffs with the two companies coming together.
Oh.
That's how amazingly well they merged.
How many people do you have in the company now?
We're about 100 people now, which for a 3D company is rather large.
I hear you've been working with BSkyB. Can you share a bit about that information?
Yeah, when BSkyB decided they needed a new product, it was right around the time, I think 3 years ago, I gave a speech at NAB, and we did the world's first broad television transmission broadcast of 3D.
Right.
Not as an analog stunt, but real 3D the way we're used to seeing it now. And the BSkyB gentlemen were there in the audience, and they decided this was their new product. So we started a relationship, we started testing, they tested everybody in the market. They came back to us as having the technology they wanted to use and that they would be able to build their base platform on. And from that, they then launched their channel, and we've been working with them since. We went and trained them, and they got it. So they're very, very good. It's not our people, it's them doing all of this.
Right.
We work with them from time to time now, but they've pretty much taken off. They're doing it as they will. They're doing it very, very well. I have a lot of admiration for BSkyB, not just in what they're doing, but they've found a business case to make the 3D broadcast channel work, which is where everybody's struggling. It's no longer about the technology.
Right.
It's really about how do you make a business case doing this. And BSkyB found a business case that would work, or actually developed a business case that would work, and they did it. They were really, really smart about the way they went about it.
My understanding is you're in the business because you believe that 3D is the future.
I'm in the business because I think 3D is inevitably the future.
Right.
We've been watching the same pictures since our grandparents. And if you look at a corollary, which is audio is, as processing power got faster in computers, audio went from mono to stereo to surround. And surround is an immersive experience. Picture needs a lot more processing power, but as processing power is increased and we've gone digital, we're now going from 2D to 3D, which is the same corollary immersive experience as surround sound.
Right.
It's just the inevitable way for television to go, and movies. But you're not, as a viewer, you're not being forced to watch 3D programming. There's a button on your remote, you can push it and watch the same programming in 2D.
Right.
It's just an option, just like you could choose to turn all the color off your picture and watch it in black and white.
Yeah,
So it's an option.
But 3D is not being done correctly now, in my opinion. Most of them are not being done correctly.
Correctly is a hard word to use. Let's try and find another word for that. I think we're reading a lot of articles from journalists, which you are one, about the demise of 3D because they're looking at current sales or the revenue curve this year against last year.
Right.
You know, when this business first came in, people would go watch automobiles on the freeway in 3D because it was novel. And you didn't have to have a movie, you just had to have something in 3D and everybody go see it.
Right.
Okay, the novelty is over. You now are back to the basics of movies and television. You have to have a story and it has to be good. 3D won't make a bad story into a good story. It's not going to help a bad movie.
Yeah.
So we're back to needing good movies. Now, so what's happening is the marketing departments and studios all want to jump on to the 3D craze, so they take a movie that was intended to be in 2D and they say, we're going to convert it to 3D. It was never intended to be in 3D. So 3D is just a layer on top of it, but it adds nothing to the story. And so you're being asked as an audience member to pay a price at the box office, a higher ticket price, and more so in the theater, you have to pay the price of wearing a pair of glasses.
Right.
What's the payback for that? And if 3D is just a layer on top of the movie without any influence on the story, or it doesn't make the story better, it doesn't give you any more empathy for the characters or dislike for the characters, it adds nothing, then I would just as soon watch it in 2D and enjoy the story. So it's not that it's being done badly, it's not, the language hasn't been developed, and it's being used by marketing departments and not by creative filmmakers. Now that's changing.
Right.
Peter Jackson is shooting The Hobbit in 3D. That will be very interesting.
Why do you think it will be interesting?
Because Peter is visually innovative and will find ways of using 3D to help tell the story instead of just being arbitrarily there. Baz Luhrmann is shooting The Great Gatsby in 3D. Now what's interesting about that is it's not a visual effects film, it's not an action movie, it's not a stunt movie, it's a drama. And Baz Luhrmann, who's one of the more visual directors working in the medium, is going to use the stereo to help enhance the storytelling. And so what he comes up with will be incredibly interesting. So we're starting to see this next generation of filmmakers adopt the medium and not just use it for arbitrary purposes,
right,
but actually use it to help tell our story. That's what will be interesting. But on the television side, a good sports broadcast in 3D is so compelling next to the same 2D version, but there's a lot of things that come into play in doing that. You need the right camera positions. You need a director who understands the difference between cutting in 2D and cutting in 3D.
Right.
A lot of things have to come into play to make it a compelling broadcast. If I'm watching tennis and it's no more compelling in 3D than 2D, then I just as soon watch the 2D version so I don't have to wear glasses.
Absolutely.
It has to be more compelling.
So lots of challenges ahead for 3D to work.
It's a technology in its infancy, and infants don't have a language. This medium is barely developing a language. Give it time. It's not. When I read these articles about the demise of 3D, you wonder, did everybody just think they'd wake up one morning and suddenly all television and all content would be in 3D?
Absolutely.
It's a transition. It's always a transition.
Yeah.
And it's going to grow, and there's going to be ups and downs, and every down doesn't require 50 articles talking about the death of the medium.
Right.
It's just another down phase.
Yeah.
Every up phase doesn't require 50 articles talking about, oh my God, this is the next thing.
Great, yeah.
It's a medium that has this half a chance to grow, but it's unstoppable at this point.
Steve, I've loved this meeting. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.